For this week's topic, the team will be covering social entrepreneurship, presented by Grady, Stewart, myself Asnk, Assefa, Emma, Payne, and Jade, Lowe. So, what's a social entrepreneurship? According to the Canadian Social Entrepreneurship Foundation, a social entrepreneur is someone who recognizes a social problem and uses entrepreneurial principles to organize, create, and manage a venture to make social changes.
Can a social venture be profitable? In fact, social entrepreneurship is the marrying of these two goals, both profitability and social gain. However, there are some that do not have this belief. This was the case in 2016 when Turing Pharmaceuticals increased the price of Daraprim, a drug used to treat several illnesses, including compromised immune systems of patients with AIDS and certain types of cancer, from $13.50 per dose to $750. This outraged the public. Many healthcare professionals saying that treatment centers may be forced to use cheaper, less effective alternatives as a result of the price hike. Martin Shkreli, CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals, argued that the price hike was well-founded, as funds from the price increase would be put towards research into finding more effective treatments. However, the public remained skeptical, forming the opinion that the hike was based on greed and not good. In this case, it would seem that Turing Pharmaceuticals chose profitability above social benefit. In the TEDx presented by William Verloop titled Changing the World Through Social Entrepreneurship, Verloop argues that sacrificing social benefit in the pursuit of financial gain has created lasting societal issues. William Verloop is a Dutch peace activist and founder of War Child. War Child is a social venture that aims to help children of war-affected countries regain their childhood by providing them access to education, opportunity, and justice. In her speech, Verloop states that she believes the key to solving many of the current global problems is the need for people to be more unreasonable. During her presentation, Verloop shares the following quotation from George Bernard Shaw, who stated, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." Verloop goes on to explain that, while we as people are inclined to solve problems with the most reasonable answer, real innovation and social venture stems from making seemingly unreasonable decisions.
But why are unreasonable people relevant? Unreasonable people, and therefore social entrepreneurs, are capable of breaking from social molds. They do not abide by the status quo and do not wait for the party in power to bring about change. They are not deterred by roadblocks, by no answers, or by the road least traveled. Muhammad Yunus's Unreasonable Man used as an example for his exceptional social entrepreneurship by both William J. Verloop in the TED Talk and in the Effectual Entrepreneurship textbook. He provided unsecured loans to the poorest people, mainly women, in order to ensure economic participation to the underprivileged. He then channeled profits from the operation back to the communities to encourage growth and sustainability. His work ultimately became the framework for the microfinancing industry. Yunus was the first Bangladeshi to ever receive a Nobel Prize. After receiving the news of the important award, Yunus announced that he would use part of his share of the $1.4 million award money to create a company to make a low-cost, high-nutrition food for the poor, while this would go towards setting up an eye hospital for the poor in Bangladesh. There doesn't seem to be an end to this guy's awesomeness.
Social ventures are not necessarily not-for-profit. A product that is leading a social change while running as a for-profit social venture is the Fairphone and Fairphone 2. The creators of Fairphone were upset with the lack of sustainability with cellular products and the increasing number of cellular devices that end up in landfills every year. Rather than become activists, they decided to change the cellular game. Fairphone is a cellular device that is made from recycled and ethically sourced materials with a modular design which allows for easier subcomponent upgrades such as the camera, battery, etc. So rather than have to purchase a new device the user can simply replace broken parts. The device is made with a goal of extending the life of a device from an average of 2 years to 5 years, which would ultimately reduce e-waste and landfills.
Thanks, Emma. On the other hand, a non-profit organization that Verloop mentioned is the Text-to-Change project. Text-to-Change aims to connect hard-to-reach target groups through mobile technology strictly for the purpose of education and information delivery. Their service includes mobile marketing, advertising and promotion, mobile surveys, and polls and quizzes. It is motivated by the idea that the mobile phone is so readily available in regions that were once isolated, but now are connected to the information grid at an exponential rate. Ultimately, as a result of their efforts on this project, thousands of people have been tested for HIV at their local clinic and provided education through SMS messages.
While these two previous companies are based in the Netherlands, Canada is not without its own social ventures. The core nonprofit sector is a common way to refer to charitable and nonprofit organizations that are not hospitals and universities. As a whole, these organizations' revenues account for about 2.4% of Canada's GDP, more than 3 times that of the motor vehicle industry. Charities and nonprofits are funded by various sources, including earned income from the sale of products and services, individual or corporate donations, government funding, and foundation grants. The Canadian Business Network is an organization that is dedicated to assisting entrepreneurs across the country in starting, sustaining, and growing their business by providing financial assistance, networking, and most importantly, guidance through the complex regulations. With the support available, how might someone actually go about attempting to find a lasting solution to a societal problem? Effectual entrepreneurship describes this process as applying the entrepreneurial method. It is not unlike the scientific method in many ways, and utilizes the ideology that people are capable of adjusting their environment in order to fit their demands and needs. This method has been used consistently for centuries and has led to copious successful social ventures. As was the case with Wedgwood Pottery Works, founded in 1759 by Josiah Wedgwood. Understandably so, the transportation of Wedgwood pottery was a complicated task, as the path to the desired destination was often extremely underdeveloped. As well, Wedgwood lacked enough pottery painters to meet the demand. To solve these problems, Wedgwood opened a school to teach otherwise unskilled laborers to paint pottery and also helped finance many public work projects which eased travel for his pottery deliveries. It is safe to assume that many people may have viewed Josiah Wedgwood's decision to open a school for painters as not the most reasonable one. However, it would appear that his unreasonable decision contributed to Wedgwood Pottery Works' success.
Thanks again, Emma. Verloop leaves the viewer with a powerful message. We as a people have the power to make a change, whether we decide to become social entrepreneurs or whether we choose to support those who do. Where we as consumers choose to invest our time and money makes a lasting difference. So the question we would like to leave the class with is, how unreasonable is your entrepreneurial spirit, and how unreasonable is your venture adventure?